Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, people. Welcome back to Jollof after Jummah, episode 40. Big 40, don't know. Another milestone, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
I think that's cause for a bit of celebration because, you know, when we started, obviously we thought we'd get to 40, but it doesn't stop it from being, you know, a lot of episodes, consistency in that. So, you know, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we're here to see 40 more. By the time we get to the next 40, then, you know,
Inshallah,
bigger things. Yeah, man, hope all the listeners are doing well, inshallah. And man, then what are you saying? Abdullah, assalamu alaikum.
alaikum salam.
Ibs?
Yeah, I'm here. I have COVID.
Ibs is...
He's not joking, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let people know.
Okay, you go on. Anyway, how you getting COVID, man?
So you got triple jabbed or whatever.
What was he doing?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying that the vaccine doesn't work, but I think what people don't actually know is, from what I've heard, apparently the jabs don't actually stop you from getting COVID.
So what's the
They
point?
just kind of minimize your symptoms, so you don't have to be hospitalized.
Yeah, it reduces the likelihood of you getting it, but obviously that doesn't mean you can't get it. It reduces the likelihood,
exactly, yeah.
And it reduces the
So basically
the intensity if you do get it.
It makes your immune system stronger in defense and towards COVID.
Yeah, so like because it exposes your body to the virus or to, you know, some sort of a version of the virus, it's therefore less likely to, once it gets inside you, let's say somebody sneezes in your mouth or something, it's less likely to develop into a full-blown infection because it can be dealt with before it gets to that stage. And if it does, it's then less likely to, you know, cause the same intensity of symptoms or cause the same to cause the same,
which is probably
severity.
why you're not unconscious right now, right?
It could be, yeah. So we don't know if he hadn't had the virus. There's a good chance that it would have been.
It would be different if I had the virus.
Yeah, or
okay.
Obviously it affects different people different ways and
no, because I had the jabs.
Yeah. So some people, you know, can get the vaccine and, you know, still a madness can still happen. But then, you know, chances are that whatever madness happens, it's less of a madness than it would have been if they didn't have it. So, you know. Anyway,
so what's this news that you have for us?
Yeah, Shifa Allah the Ibs, and obviously everyone, you know, make dua for Ibs in the comments for speedy recovery.
The symptoms aren't terrible. It's basically just like a long cold, but then I've also lost my taste to the smell, which is an absolute.
Lost what? Sorry, what did you say about smell and taste?
I've lost my taste and smell in it, so like eating is just pointless. I can't taste anything. I might just be eating bread and rice, just plain, nothing on it.
Gary,
what just try that? Do you know?
Just dead.
Do you find it? Yeah, because I found this. Yeah,
I'm thinking about people listening. Why are they talking about Gary? Who's
this Gary they always mention? Do you find that like even though you can't smell or taste, you still, I don't know how much of a sweet tooth you have or whatever, if you're that type of person, but like, do you still find that your desire to eat those type of things is still there? Not really. Sorry? Not really.
Because I just can't be bothered. Because for me, it's like there's no point.
Have you lost weight?
I can't taste anything. It's just dead. No, I haven't lost it. I haven't had it that long, so.
Okay.
I think I only lost my taste like 2 or 3 days ago, but just since then, it's just been dead, man.
So that Old Trafford that we saw you at, can I confirm that was...
Stop being silly. Stop being silly.
Huh?
Anyways, may Allah grant each
You
Friday.
think I was there when I was posting the picture? I was there at the same time.
I don't know, man.
I think I was there at the same
That's what
time.
I'm asking. I just need clarification. Maybe we need to call Trace and Track.
Inshallah, we'll see you back. We'll see you back soon on the pod.
Yeah, just make sure you're not bringing any dustiness with you.
Inshallah, yeah.
What's this news that you had for us?
We're desperate for the news. Basically, last week, obviously, one of the man them got married last week. You know, may Allah bless the union and all that. So obviously, I had a couple of. I just needed to do something for him, and I needed to do something for my wife. In terms, we needed to go and get like a car in it. Last night after we left, and we left quite late in it. I think we finished like 10, something mad like that. But man's just driving, just literally not far. I won't obviously give away the location of where we are driving, I'm at a road here where it's like I'm driving straight. There's a traffic light. There's straight here. Then there's another road which. So imagine you're on a road that's one lane. There's a traffic light. You go through it, but next to you there's a road that's kind of curving, almost a bit like a roundabout looking thing. But it joins into your road, but it has its own lane. My man at 35 miles per hour plus, because if I'm going at anyway. For the insurance purposes, I won't say how fast I was driving, but man's going at a certain speed, yeah, and he's going fast. Man, you licks my car from right into my, like your door handle, yeah. You know your door handle, like the thing
this
that
guy, you're so. When it comes to cars,
these Toyota Priuses, they love man.
Oh, Uber driver.
Nah, a Bolt. They love man.
Oh, same thing.
Whoever owns Uber, Bolt, they said rah.
I was just talking about it on the phone today with someone. They're just terrible. These man, they just like Ib said, no spatial awareness, nothing.
But yeah,
how did they get their licenses?
And you're the passenger, but like the door handle of my car actually came in and hit me on my hip. Like it was that because he came, so like the dent is on my door. So like he turned into me. Yeah. And like when you bit like you just see a man like, bro, you're about to drive into me. It wasn't like a T-bone type of thing, but it was like a almost that.
Your door handle's in the middle. You got a three-door car.
Because he didn't come directly at me, but he came turning. So imagine someone's turning. So it was like, and if I didn't bib, I think it would have been way worse because he was. But as I bibbed, we both turned away from each other a bit. But yeah, but it's mad. I got out of the car and obviously I'm annoyed, but like obviously I'm annoyed in it.
Next, you're gonna tell me, he said, "Oh, Abdul Malik, Jollof forever." Swear down.
There's no podcast done after that. I'm looking at like, it would have been another waitress situation or man. I got out, then I went to him after the first thing I did actually was that there's a car behind me. I went up to my man and I was like, bro, like I beg you, just slap me on number now, just in case. Like, let me just
slap me on what?
Witnesses in it.
Oh, okay.
So he was the guy directly behind me. So I just like, that's the first thing. Before I go and talk to my man, he was on the opposite side of the road, innit? Went to him, and he's got a passenger in the back. That's the thing that surprised me the most. Because the way you're driving, how can you drive so wild with somebody in the back of your car? That's anyway, cool. The first thing he looks at me and he said, why did you go past the red light? I said, what?
Have you got a dash cam? You haven't got a dash cam.
Nah, he has. That's not even the funniest thing. He has. He said, why are you going past the red light? I said, what? He said, you passed the red light. You wasn't supposed to be there. I said, get out of your car. He said, no, I'm not getting out of my car. Then the girl at the back was like, what? You was driving really irresponsibly. Like to him. She was talking to him, not me. She was on my side, obviously.
Really irresponsibly or really responsibly?
Really irresponsibly to him. And then I said, bro, get out of your car. Then he's like, no, I'm not getting out. I said, look at me, get out of your car. He gets out. I said, come, walk with me. I said, what all these? Because my car's still blocking traffic at this point, isn't it? I said, look behind me. What do you see? He's like, I don't know what you talk. I said, what do you see? He said, cars. I said, so is it me and 5, 6, 7 other cars that all beat the red light together? Waste, man. Whose fault is it? That's what I just said. I said, whose fault is it? Because before we do, I said, because this is how I'm getting out my frustration without,
punching man up.
I said, whose fault is it? He said, it's not my fault. I said, what? I said, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
Huh? Go on, Nibs.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah, I said, whose fault is it? He said, it's your fault. You're going past the red light. I said, like I said to you before, how many cars are here? I said, look at the road. And I dragged it up. I said, come, let's take another. Oh, no, in fact, actually, I said, wait there. I'll move my car onto the pavement. Then I went back to him and I said, come, let's take a walk. I went to the traffic light where we were standing. I said, look at the light. What colour is it? He said, green. I said, look at the light you went past. What colour is it? Green. I said, so whose fault is it? I said, oh, no. And then I said, how many lanes are there? 1, 2. Okay, so whose fault is it? Like, I'm sorry, brother. I said, what's your name? Then he said something Arabic. I said, flips it. Okay, let me just calm down in it. Because I don't like, cool. So, and then I just said, cool, so you're going to call your insurance and what are you going to tell them? So I'm going to tell them it's my fault. I said, thank you. What's your name? Then we exchanged details. And then kept it moving. And the worst thing that was annoying is because, when like you got stuff to do, and then like you don't want it to become the focus of the night or whatever.
Mate, your car's been hit.
No, but like, you know, it's like, if let's say I go home and
the
I'm
door
like,
handle.
but it's fine. Like, to be fair, it's the same car I drove here. They haven't picked it up yet. They're picking up maybe I think Monday, inshallah.
Oh, yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, if I do that and then, you know, like, let's say I told my mum or what, then suddenly everyone's panicking and blah blah blah, and then the night's done, and then so I got stuff to do in it. So I didn't even tell anyone until like 5 hours later, 6 hours later, until everything was settled. But yeah, man, fam, I don't know why these Ubers, they love me, and this they're gonna write it off again. It's annoying, man.
For those who don't know, this guy's had so this is your second car of the same car.
Yeah.
The first one was hit how many times?
Twice. No,
it's like your pinball.
I was driving on the road, then I'm just driving, and a door just flings out, like, and then just wipes me up.
But there was a time before that. Your car's been in a body shop. You're literally keeping body shops running.
This is my 4th accident, yeah. All of them are like, you know, like how people say, "Oh, it wasn't my fault," or "It wasn't my fault." You know, like when there's no, basically, I've either been driving straight or not, or standing still and been hit every single time on the side. Yeah, man. Anyway, alhamdulillah, we're still here.
Yeah.
They can't get me. They're trying to get me. They can't. Shout out to the ops and that. Anyway, on to more positive things. Anyway, if there are more positive things, how are you lot? How's your week been? Abdullah, because we know Ibs has COVID. They tried to kill me, so I don't know. It's not a good start. So Abdullah, please give us some good news.
Alhamdulillah. Can't complain, man. All good. What's there to say?
I needed more positivity than that.
Alhamdulillah, man. There's nothing to report here. Life's normal. Obviously, you know stuff that has happened. Since December.
Okay, yeah.
Why did I say my account was blocked?
Yeah. What's is that all patterned?
Useless.
Okay, so it's just sadness. Okay, so Dhul Hijjah is about Eid, isn't there? You know, positivity. We might as well get into the bites before we get into the topic. We'll just do the bite. Go on.
The way I said it just sounds like it sounds peak. Basically, I've been a victim of identity theft. Someone stole my details.
What?
Yeah. I thought you knew.
No?
So basically, pretty much all people need today, it's been happening since December. Pretty much people can apply for loans, car finance, bank accounts, a lot of stuff in your name. All they need is your address, date of birth, email. That's why you shouldn't really be giving out these details. These are sensitive data. That is mad. Address, date of birth, email. What else? Passwords sometimes, but it's mostly email, date of birth, and address. With those three, people can hit you hard. But yeah, man, alhamdulillah, I can't complain, man. I'm just chilling with my daughter.
It's been a bad week for the judge boys, isn't it?
Fam.
Bad week. This has been happening since December, bro. I just haven't said anything.
Anyway, episode 40, celebrate. I started off saying alhamdulillah, episode 40.
Listen, alhamdulillah, man, I can't complain, man. I'm good, man.
Yeah, Ibs. Obviously, we did a little appearance yesterday. How do you think that went?
You made it
And do you want to explain what happened, what it was about?
What's this?
Yeah, you were here.
Basically, it was me and we were all asked to kind of have a panel discussion for a youth conference about basically growing up in the 21st century as young Black Muslims. And obviously, me and Abdul Malik volunteered to do so. So yeah, we were having a conversation, and I believe a question was asked about the clash between culture and religion. I can't remember exactly what the question was.
Yeah.
About culture and religion, and without any sort of decorum or decency or any sort of emotional intelligence, I Abdul Malik decided to start his answer by saying he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. So I'm not bashing him on him because he wasn't wrong. But he decided to start his answer by saying that the culture of dobala or prostration to your elders in our culture should be dead. Basically, that's in a nutshell. That's what he said.
Let me jump in. Go on.
It should be dead.
Go on.
So they should be dead. And I said, which obviously triggered some of the adults who were in the chat that obviously heavily resonate with this part of our culture. And yeah, if you want, you can continue from there.
Yeah. So firstly, I thought it was a youth conference I was attending because all I was getting was bare backlash from bare aunties. I didn't hear and all I'm saying is the youth were the ones. I got 2 WhatsApp messages and we got a message in the DMs on Judge being like, nah, yeah, I'm alright, man. I was like, speak out with your chest on the Zoom then. Why are you backing me? Why are you backing me on WhatsApp when auntie's flogging me on the Zoom? You know, it's mad, yeah. If I wasn't, and you heard me say it, I was like, rah, it's on Zoom, innit? No one can drag me off the stage. No one can put belt on me. Yeah. let me just. I should have even put a wig on, put my dreads back on, just to upset them even more. But no, I'm joking. But like I said, yeah, and I thought it's an opportunity in it because I'm old now, yeah. And this is the thing is, this is what they want. Like they they came to the country. Obviously, they set up their mosques. They sent us to madrasa to learn, or Americas or whatever, to learn the religion, and then this is the result that we actually develop our own mind. And then when I brought up something, because obviously they were asking me about culture versus religion, and I thought at the end of the day, here, if you're on the stage, culture but at a time when your culture and religion may clash.
Religion, exactly. No, there's a religion, and if the culture clashes with the religion, then we don't take from. You're cutting
in and out. You need to move your mic up 1 second. We'll clap back in. You need to move your mic. Tilt it upwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Keep talking.
Yeah, there's the religion, and whatever clashes with it is null and void, regardless of whether it's culture or whatever.
Exactly. Anyway, that's part
of the culture.
That was what. So the questioner, obviously, is basically wanted me to say basically what you just said, but obviously in a more basically not even eloquent. Just he's asking me for my insight from my perspective in it, or from our perspective, me, Ibs, and the sister on the panel, and the other sister on the panel, and like I said, obviously this is an opportunity. Like if I'm gonna come here. And it's a youth conference, and you've invited people from the youth who you've said, we've these people have gone. We brought these people up, these kids, the way we want them to be brought up. They develop their own minds, and now they're going to be quote unquote the leaders of tomorrow, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So what's the point of me just saying like
what you want to hear?
So I thought let me use this opportunity to say go on, Ibs.
I don't disagree with what you said at all. I don't disagree with what you said at all. I think I do
the way it was put.
Think your approach could have been better.
But the thing is,
100%. I think your approach could have been better, and I think it was your approach more than anything that probably offended them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but they'll
disagree with what you do 100%. I think regardless of the way you put it, they'll disagree with what you said. But had you maybe been a bit more calm about it, maybe approached it a little bit better.
Do you think I was aggressive in the way I said it?
I don't.
I think I was cheeky. I think it was cheeky, innit? The way I did it.
You were very cheeky. So calm is the wrong word.
That's
calm
me.
Is the wrong word to use.
Yeah.
So
maybe they saw it as
patronising. Had you been, I don't know how else to put it, but had you just approached it in a better manner, then maybe they wouldn't have reacted the way that they reacted, and they might have been more inclined to actually listen to what you were saying rather than dropping. But yeah, because like you said, they were throwing shade in the comments. So I think
comments.
Like a chat. There's a chat. Obviously, Zoom in it, so there's like a live chat. But like, you have to remember, firstly,
is this brothers and sisters?
What do you mean?
So you know why I said I didn't want to go? Because
it's imagine it's basically like being the same. Imagine like if the youth did like last Friday the month lecture, like that type of crowd would be youth and youth.
Yeah, but you said there was a panel of brothers.
Hold on, you're speaking mentioning on the mic. The panel in terms of the people who are being like kind of interviewed was me, Ibs, and a sister, but like people are asking questions and people are asking. mad. People.
So there's people asking questions to you guys.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think it was your approach more than anything, to be honest. Because you know, I've said this before. I feel like 90% of the time, it's the way you say something rather than what you say. Maybe their reaction to what you said might have been a bit more mild, rather if you had just maybe approached the situation a little bit better.
But you know, for me, when it comes to man, and I don't know how many times you've been around me whenever I've been asked to speak to the aunties and uncles at man, or to the older people. I make a point. I don't know if you might have seen this, you might not. It just depends if you've been around or not. But I make a point of making sure that I speak unapologetically, like me. Have you know? I make a point. I don't change how I know. Yeah, I do everything in the same style. 100. I don't. I'm consistent. Whereas some people are more say someone like Amir, for example. He's more politician, innit? So he picks and chooses how he does what he's doing. But it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it?
And you know what? Yeah, there's probably merit to that into taking that approach, because I understand why you wouldn't want to code switch and why you would want to unapologetically be yourself. But if that's not the language that they're gonna hear or they're gonna listen to, then you kind of have to adapt.
Because it's why some,
especially if you want your message to get across. Because
you wouldn't talk to us the same way you talk to your parents and your parents' friends.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on, Nips.
Yeah, because I can guarantee you that even though you said what you said, they're not going to take anything away from it. And
another thing is, I think
the way that thing kind of resolved showed they didn't take anything away from it, because they were trying to justify it, and then the panel became about whether it's right or wrong.
But then,
and even in the end, the guy didn't answer the question.
But I think in the way he answered the question, the way the sheikh that was there answered the question, and he was from Nigeria, I think it showed that he in his answer because if I was completely wrong, he would have said it, but I wasn't. So he did, in his answer, I think the conclusion that anyone would have drawn is that, and it's basically what he said, that there's no reason to be rebellion. I think obviously he made the reference to which was very clever on his part, that bringing yourself down to somebody's level. Oh, sorry, and dobale, for people that don't know, dobale is like prostration in it. So like cultural prostration, bowing down to people. And that's the kind of Yoruba / Nigerian word for it. Yeah. He said bringing yourself down to somebody, maybe an old person, to their level, so that they can hear the information you're trying to give to them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what he said, which is common sense. If I'm like kneeling down, like if I go to a grandma sitting on a chair, I might kneel down when I'm speaking to her. I might be on my knees, but that's not bowing to her. But we all know exactly.
So the context was clear.
Exactly.
The fact that everyone there is Nigerian, we all know what we're talking about. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is dobale, which is a form of greeting, a form of
bowing down. Well, at no point did he say that is halal. He didn't. So. And another thing is, I'd say
because by doing that, by doing that, by jumping to another scenario, we're talking about going down to understand or to what was it?
Like that going down to the level.
By bringing another scenario, what you're doing is you're complicating things, because the people who want to hear what they want to hear are now going to misconstrue that into thinking.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you have to, when it comes to, you have to be.
Telling you,
yeah, go on.
Like I understand why he answered the question the way that he did. I still think he should have been clear cut.
If anyone should have been clear cut,
because there are already people that were in the comments that were already bringing their own kind of misconception. You heard you saw the question someone asked saying, "Do we all know the difference between prostration and sujood?" Trying to say that that frustrating someone isn't sujood, and basically just trying to justify it.
That statement was mad.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. So in these kind of situations, we've spoken about this before, about sometimes you need to be clear cut, you need to be firm, and it doesn't. And if you get offended, then that's between you and Allah, innit?
But in that scenario, I think how you said you were frank and you were unapologetic. I think the one person in that whole scenario, in that situation, that had the responsibility of being unapologetic and being clear cut was the sheikh. I think in that scenario, what you could have done better is realize and acknowledge that these are our elders. We know they're Nigerian. They take things a certain way.
Go on.
We know that to them, the way they see us is, I used to wipe your bum. You have no right to tell me anything. I know better than you.
Yes, cool. Perfect,
so you could have worded it. Maybe you could have worded it in a better way, where it's because we see. I'm no one to talk. Me and when I talk on this podcast, I'm talking with the idea that I'm speaking to people, my age mates. I'm not speaking to elders. If I was speaking to elders, I would definitely put it in a certain way.
Yes.
When you're having a conversation with someone, or when you're discussing with someone, or when you're talking to someone, you adapt according to the audience. We saw this. I think someone even mentioned it. We saw this when, for example, we did the episode with Estelle. I'm not the same way I am now. I haven't got the big chest I got now because that's my teacher. You have a certain type of relationship. You have a 100. So I think that's the same way when you're talking to elders, when you're talking to your parents or your parents' friends or that kind of level, and you want to get them to understand something, knowing that they're Nigerian, knowing that they're tough-headed, you kind of word it in a certain way. How they take it after that, that's with them. But at least it'll get them to ponder rather than being agidi and kind of.
I think that we're in danger of making, because obviously anyone who hasn't listened, or anyone who listens to this and obviously wasn't on the conference will probably think I said a madness. I didn't say a madness. What I did was I just basically, so what I said I said the first thing I'll say, and I said it with a smile on my face, almost kind of smiling, laughing as I said it, as my way of softening it with personality in it, which is how I do everything. Which is how I always.
But the word's dead.
No, I didn't. And I said something, something like, things. I said, I hope. What did I say? I said, I'm glad to see it that it's reducing in our community, and it's something that I think should be dead, and that's the ballet and bow it. That's what I said, but in a kind of smiley laugh. Firstly, what I'll say is,
it doesn't matter if you're smiling,
but like
you could be saying it with roses.
Yeah, but like, firstly, just because a few people in the there was 60s, 70s, something like that, people there. Yeah, let's not act as if it wasn't like 3, 4, 5 people that were. Do you know what I mean? We can't just assume that if 3, 4, 5 people that's one. That's two. The second thing is that seemed to take offense or whatever.
Okay.
The second thing is that, because those 5 people should not be unhappy, shouldn't be the reason that we present.
Let's not talk like there weren't going to be people that were. No, we're talking about the elders, Nigerian. There were going to be people that weren't going to be happy with what you were going to say, regardless of how you put it. There were people that weren't going to be happy. But what I'm saying is, you could have reduced that. That's it.
I'm not sure. I agree. Go on, Ibs. I'll finish.
I don't agree either, to be honest. I don't agree either. I don't disagree with your wording, because again, like I said, everything you said was.
I would never change. I would never go. I'll do it 100 times.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the way you worded it at all. I just think it was maybe the cheekiness and the fact that they might have taken it as maybe you were making light of the situation by possibly the way you were smiling about it.
Exactly. It was intentional.
Yeah, but isn't that perception? Isn't that how they've perceived it? I'm talking about using the word, because the word, for example, dead, is how you would word it if you were talking to people our age. That's I said it's something that should be dead, as in it shouldn't be anymore. That's what, not the way we use dead, as in it should be finished. That it's something that's reduced, something that's dying, but it should be dead. That's basically the context of what I said. Going back. Sorry, let me finish what I was saying before. Like, first, the second thing is the style of delivery that I have when I'm talking to them. It's a bit kind of like how we talk to it's how you talk, like a bit like how I kind of talk with my parents, and I do it. It was almost out of love. For example, when we're doing the diet and lifestyle exercise type course that we're doing, I make the same unreservedly.
if you
Are these people that know you? Have they seen?
Yes, they know me, and that's another thing.
Okay.
And I use that.
I thought this was like a different panel.
No.
So
Obviously,
they've seen lectures and they know you and know how you.
Not all of them know me but a lot of them, most of them know me in it. So the second thing is, like, going back when I'm doing my lectures on like diet or whatever those things that I used to do, or health and fitness, or that type of stuff. The same thing. I talked to them. I said, "Rah, you auntie, your uncle that has diabetes." He did what you're doing now, so what's the difference that's my style in it. And at the end of the day, they invite me back all the time in it. They want me to talk all the time, so obviously they're not doing a horrible job. That's why. And people appreciate it, and people are always going to be rubbed up the wrong way by something.
Yeah,
but that doesn't, like, there's always going to be a few people, but that shouldn't, like I was going to say before,
the truth.
The outrage of 5 people shouldn't be the reason that we preserve the ignorance of 75 people.
No one's saying to preserve the ignorance. 100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I think, yeah, it's just personality, innit? Because at the end of the day, yeah, like, what should I be manless? Like, no, I am what I am. No, people, no. Man. And I genuinely think that a lot of them, and I get this in it, like, and they tell me, and that's what gives me the confidence to do it. Because if I knew that they really didn't like my style of talking, my style of delivery, then they wouldn't ask. I'll know, because they wouldn't ask me to do things, and I wouldn't get people telling me that they like it. So, because it's good, because they need that, people want to be spoken to, like, with the truth. And another thing is, they do not want to feel, or a lot of them, older people, they do not want to feel like aliens. They don't like being treated like aliens by the younger people. Do you get what I mean by that, Ibs?
Basically pampered.
Yeah. So they want to feel like they'd rather feel like we can relate to them than they don't want us to. You know what I mean? So that's why they like us sitting with them. They like us coming to their lectures, because they want to feel like that whatever's relevant to them is relevant to us. They don't want to feel like we're two separate species. So my way of doing that, and by joking with them, that is my way of. It might be wrong or right, but that's my way of relating and showing. It's out of love, innit? Because yeah, and I think that people do appreciate. But obviously, certain things are gonna trigger. But if it triggers, then boy.
No, 100%. When you're frank, there's a way to be frank.
Not
disrespectful.
To be honest, there might even be merit to them being triggered. Maybe that them being triggered will get them to think about it.
Exactly.
So.
And if I said it with bare aggression, the violence is haram, then it's easy to just go, boy. The fact that I can laugh and say, you don't think this thing, you lot are still doing this double, maybe it's almost like embarrassing, and I think that's why. Yeah, so I think that's better. I think that sometimes it's even it's like a passive aggressive way of doing it, which sometimes is better than just. Yeah. But anyway, what did you make of the rest of the event? I think it was good, man. It helped me reflect on and just gave me some time to reflect on how
it was interesting. I think obviously you and the sister got into a little bit of conversation about your kind of upbringing, and I think it was definitely interesting. Like, in contrast to my upbringing, got me to affect a bit of it as well.
And you're going a bit mumbly.
Huh?
You're going a bit mumbly.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that better? Hold on. Yeah. I was saying, yeah, it was interesting. It got me to kind of reflect a little bit as well, because you and the sister got into a little bit of a conversation about how your upbringing was obviously similar, and that got me to reflect about how mine was obviously a lot different to yours, and I guess the merits to kind of both. So I don't know if you're ready to speak about that now, or if you want to like.
I think we can do that one later. I think we can do that one fully later. But what I will say is that, do you remember the question about? So Abdullah, somebody asked us here, because obviously me growing up in like a mixed faith house here, and I made reference to the point here that allowed me, well, that has given me, kind of more. It's strengthened the foundation of my faith, knowing that I can say being educated on both, and it furthers my certainty that Islam is the correct religion.
I think it can work both ways.
Exactly. So somebody asked, so based on that, and this is why, this is why it showed me two things. You have to be careful what you say, because somebody then asked basically, so do you think it would be beneficial to give my children like knowledge on different religions to enable them to have more certainty in their Islam? And I thought, when I heard the question, I said, wow. But I was thinking, but it's good that somebody asked that though.
Yeah.
Because imagine I said that, yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
And then somebody now said, okay.
Based off what you said.
The good thing about questions, especially on the panel,
that's why there's no stupid questions. That's why
a lot of people think something, but rarely are people able to ask the question. So when someone asks it, it kind of quenches the thoughts of other people that weren't encouraged, or weren't brave enough to ask the question, because it can be intimidating to ask a question in such a packed environment. In a what do you call it, a conference.
I guess that's one of the good things about Zoom as well, because you can just change your name, turn off your camera, and then nobody knows who's asking the question. But yeah, man. So
my name's Sister Zainab.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but like, yeah. So like the fact that obviously my answer was clearly very much like, no, Islam is a gift. Do not tempt. Do not even open the door for the shaitan to come and give you waswas and but yeah, man. Just I think being careful with what you say is I was rattled by that. I don't know if you could tell when she asked that. Because you're just thinking, as she's asking, I'm like, no. But then obviously you have to be professional. Yeah. I don't know, man. What was your reaction to that?
I don't think I was as rattled as you are, because obviously I think it's easy to see why her mind would go there to think something like that. I again 100% agree with your answer. Obviously, Shaitan is slippery and he has experience, and it's ways like that he'll use to just creep into people's minds and get them to think that what they're doing is wrong. But at the same, I don't know, based on your experience, an argument can be made as to why there may be benefit to it, but it's a very, very slippery slope, and that's the thing. So I would understand why someone would want to avoid it entirely, because it's an extremely slippery slope. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't as rattled as you were. I could completely understand why her mind would go there. I think it's a perfectly understandable thing to think when you hear something like that. But,
so Abdullah, what's your stance on learning about other religions as a Muslim?
I don't know.
Before Abdullah answers,
go on.
I would say as long as, I guess obviously I think it may have been different for you, because obviously you might not have had that strong foundation you had at the time when you were learning about both. But
go on.
I think if someone had a strong foundation in their religion and they knew obviously the path that they were on was already right, I don't think I wouldn't see any issue in them learning about other religions. Again, like you said, as long as they have that strong foundation, it might even make their foundation stronger than it already is. So
do you know why people say like, so the people
I think the question to always ask is, what is the benefit to learning about other religions?
Yeah, exactly.
I think with learning and studying about our religion, naturally you learn what you need to learn about other religions. Obviously you learn about the Torah, and we learn about other religions. We learn about the Jews.
We learn about where they went wrong.
You learn about the different tribes during the Prophet, during the Sahabas, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during the time of the Salaf. Like we learn about these things anyway. I think anything extra that is not in part of our religious studies as Muslims, what's the benefit to them about it?
Yeah,
I might be wrong in answering that question, but I'm genuinely asking what is the benefit.
The people of knowledge, what they'll say is that even this is why it goes back to why you shouldn't debate with, or you shouldn't, get yourself sucked into debates with people from other religions, because the fact that it only takes the way that the mind works. When we spoke about shubha and shahawat, that was is that it only takes a seed or something, maybe a gap in your own knowledge, especially that's the biggest one as well, that you're not as qualified as you think you are, or when people aren't generally as qualified as they think they are. So it only takes a gap in your knowledge and somebody, or a little crack in your iman, for somebody to really hit on that crack. They hit on that crack, and suddenly you're questioning yourself, and suddenly and that opens the door for shaitan to pollute your mind with this and this and this and this, and suddenly that little crack in your iman, that's natural, that we all have, or that little gap in knowledge that most of us definitely have, can suddenly be blasted wide open, and then you're open game. So that's why it's extremely dangerous, and that's why something like debates, for example, because you know that, what did they say, that what is it, like a somebody who's eloquent in speech is almost the same as like a magician. I forgot the exact wording of the hadith, but the eloquent speech is very, very, very powerful, and it's able to do a lot. Yeah, it's able to twist the mind. So somebody, for example, with nonsense belief, it doesn't even have to be, it's not even like a religious belief, but let's take, for example,
they'll just package it nicely.
They can package it nicely. They can have experience in debating, so they know what kind of pushes the buttons, maybe, or what's commonly a doubt for Muslims maybe living in a certain place in a certain time, and they can really target that, and they can give you their sweet speech, and suddenly you thought you was a strong Muslim, a solid foundation Muslim, suddenly you're rattled, and then you leave that conversation, and you went there with the mind that, oh, I'm gonna turn this person's change this person's mind, and then boy, you're suddenly, then you're rattled. And that's why, you know, things like the Speaker's Corner and places like that in Hyde Park, it's not generally, that's why these are the kind of things that generally they should just be avoided, because doing, in terms of speaking or conversing or debating, that's something that should be left to the top of the top, because there's countless stories of people of knowledge, people that are
prominent figures that have run away from debates. Yeah, run away from debates. They don't debate.
And I mean prominent people that have solid iman, solid foundation, solid religion, and that can get torn away from them at the last moment. I think, was it Abdurrahman when he told the story of, you know, the pious man who looked after the sister, or the I think the female relative anyway of the men that were going to fight,
and he asked her to walk,
and eventually
he asked her to walk behind, and
all of that stuff, and eventually this pious man was voluntarily bowing in front of the shaitan.
Oh no, no, it's not the one I was thinking.
Bowing, was prostrating for the shaitan, because he ended up killing that woman. So and died upon that shirk. So you don't, it's yeah, man, like as I said in the thing, like Islam is a gift, so there's no need to take. I know the one you're talking about, and they got her pregnant, and they need exactly. So Islam is a gift. It's like if you got your Air Force Ones, your clear and white Air Force Ones, you're not going to take them anywhere. You don't just carry it anywhere and just be using it anyhow, because it's precious. So you gotta look after it. So yes, there might be benefit in it, but is it worth it? And it goes back to what Abdullah said about what's the benefit. So that's my stance in it. If it happens, if it naturally happens, then cool. But it's a slippery slope in it. You don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Yeah, man. Moving on before we wrap, because I actually need to go soon, by the way, Abdullah. Because I need what's it called? We'll clap this up. But Dhul-Hijjah. To be honest, last week we should have. I think it was an oversight. I think we got the dates. Well, we didn't realize what the date was. But I think by the time this episode comes out,
10 days till
we're gonna be on. It's gonna be Friday. That would be.
Oh, we already would have.
Yeah, that would have been about the 7th. What's Friday? Like 7th or something. Day of Dhul-Hijjah. I think Monday is the 9th, isn't it? Sure. Monday is the 9th. Eid is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday the 20th.
Yeah, Eid is scheduled to be Tuesday. So Monday,
so today,
which is 3 days after this episode is scheduled to come out, is going to be Yom Arafat. And yeah, man, I think it's just important that we touch on some of the virtues of the day. So Dhul-Hijjah. I think obviously before we'll do this properly in the bites and that of Jollof, but I think maybe if the man them just couldn't give a little top tip or anything kind of they're making intentions to do and would advise others to do in these first 10 days, or by the time this comes out there'll be the last 3-4 days, but any kind of advice you'd want to give? I'll start with Abdullah.
Yeah, basically all I would say is as a quick tip, obviously just to acknowledge that these 10 days are the best of 10 days. They're better than, we all know how virtuous the nights of Ramadan, the days and nights of Ramadan are, especially those last 10 nights. And to understand that these 10 days are even better, and to just increase the acts of ibadah, increase the amount of sunnah you're doing, whether it be praying tahajjud or praying witr or anything, just increase, go hard, minimize your sins. And that's what I would say as a quick one today.
Ibs?
Yeah, no, I would, same thing really. I would maybe say a little bit differently. Where it's hasn't been long since Ramadan finished, so I guess maybe try and use it as a way to kind of remind you of the things that you were doing in Ramadan, and maybe use it as like another mini reset. If you've kind of fallen back into some bad habits, obviously you hope not, but if you have fallen into bad habits since Ramadan is finished, again, just use it as like a mini reset to just try again, and if at first you fail, try again. So yeah, that would be it really. Just a mini reset kind of.
Just to add to what Ib said, simple thing you can even do on a daily basis that people just underestimate is dhikr. Just remembering Allah. Dhikr, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu akbar, la ilaha illallah. Like, these are just simple things that you do that don't cost nothing, that don't require much effort, much time. You can do it while you're driving, you can do it. Just do it now more than ever. These 10 days are better than many.
Yeah, man. We'll just slide into the bites because we might as well do it now. Dhul-Hijjah is obviously the month of Eid-Ul-Adha, which is the greatest of days the greatest day in the Islamic calendar. And it's funny that it's not funny, but it's strange, I guess, that this Eid and these 10 days are often not kind of glorified and celebrated the way that Ramadan is. And obviously there's a variety of reasons, and the biggest one is probably because of the way that the media, the industry, the supermarkets, it's just not publicized, isn't it? It's not glorified the same way. It's not as glamorous for whatever reason.
These campaigns are probably run by non-Muslims, so of course they're not going to understand.
So and I think it's something that needs to be revived in the community.
We don't base our religion. Sorry, bro. We don't base our religion based off adverts and campaigns by supermarkets. We base it based off knowledge that we learn about our religion. We know that these 10 nights are the most virtuous. Others don't. As fellow Muslims, let's educate ourselves. Let's educate our fellow Muslims on these. You know what? I'll leave it. This mic's just
I'll just get into some kind of evidences for the kind of the virtue of these days. Reported by Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, and he reported that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there are no days in which righteous deeds are more beloved to Allah than these 10 days. And the people asked, not even jihad for the sake of Allah. And he said, not even jihad for the sake of Allah, except in the case of a man who went out to fight, giving himself and his wealth up for the cause, and he came back with nothing, and that's reported by Bukhari. And so just on that, and even the fact, Surah Fajr, the fact that, Allah swears by these 10 days, it just shows that the high position of these 10 days, and it's something that needs to be remembered and acted upon by the Muslims. It's not only Ramadan that we need to focus on, and it's not only Yom Al-Arafah that we need to focus on. It's these 10 days. They're literally an opportunity, And the way that, the same way that when it comes to the last 10 nights, and you hear people say, last 10 nights of Ramadan, that is, and you hear people say, this is an opportunity. This is almost like, the bank doors have opened and the money's kind of, the crystal maze, the last challenge in the crystal maze, money's just there, you can grab it. It's the same thing, and people just need to kind of make sure they take advantage of it. And I know this is obviously going to come out on Friday, but that means there'll be a few days left. Just grab onto it and make sure, especially, that you fast on the Monday, on the 9th day, because obviously the reward for that is the sins of 2 years being forgiven, and that's something that I don't know anyone who couldn't do with 2 years worth of sins being forgiven. So that's something that we just need to make sure that we make the most of. So what kind of things can we do in these 10 days? Inshallah, a big one, fasting, one of the acts most beloved to Allah. That's a clear one. The takbir. So I know Abdullah beautifully reminded us, the dhikr that we can do, but the Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. That one, that specific one, that is something that obviously we say on Eid, before the salah and after salah and all that type of stuff. But it's something that we can be doing from now. It's a sunnah that we can revive. And obviously the last one is not the last one amongst others, but one of the biggest ones is the udhiyah, the sacrifice. That's something that amongst some, or one, I think school, one school, I think it's the Hanafis, that they believe that this is something that's wajib, that's compulsory, but and at the very least, according to the majority, it's a highly recommended sunnah to take part in the udhiyah, which is to sacrifice a cow or a goat or a camel and distribute the meat. If you can partake in that, if you have the money, if you have spare money available, it's something that is extremely recommended. It's something that you should do. And with that, obviously, there's certain conditions or things that you have to follow, like not cutting the nails and the hair. So I'd say that if you're somebody that has £70-80 knocking about in your account, there's something that you can do. And it doesn't mean that you have to kill it yourself. There are ways that you can go about it. There's a platform, well, maybe I'll put the link in the description, that some of the brothers from the masjid are running, the Muslim platform, where they're offering that service to people. I believe it's £70. It's something that Muslim platform or Wellness Foundation. Oh, sorry, yes, the Wellness Foundation. Sorry, thank you, Abdullah. The Wellness Foundation. That some of the brothers in the masjid are running. That you can send the money there, and it can be done on your behalf, and the food will be distributed to the needy. And alhamdulillah, you fulfill that obligation, and the various rewards that are upon that will be for you. So I think I don't want it to look like we're rushing through this, because it's actually a big thing, innit? Same way that we give so much attention to Ramadan, the same way we should give bare attention to this. So that was the little section on this month. Inshallah, we can all take benefit from it, and obviously it's a reminder for ourselves first and foremost. And may Allah preserve us to see and allow us to see many more. Ameen. Yeah, man.
That's if you can get in your car without it.
Fam, I know, man. If I can get in my car, inshallah my car's even still there, fam. The way things are going, man. But anyway, Qadar Allah. At least I'm here, man. Just say alhamdulillah, because that situation could have ended a lot differently, man. Yeah, man. What are you saying? It's coming home, yeah.
Allow it.
We'll know if it's home. People in this country, yeah, they need to. I don't know, English people, fam.
This London is finished, and it doesn't matter what the result is. Regardless of the result, this London is finished.
A&E is due to be popping tomorrow, fam.
I wouldn't put it past these man to riot. I'm telling you, I wouldn't put it past them
if they lose,
to riot, regardless of the result. Huh?
Fam, if you own like an Italian restaurant and you're in around, fam, just I hope you've got bars. I hope you've got bars.
You actually need to be careful.
Yeah.
I've been seeing people trying to burn Italian flags. I've seen people stamping on Italian flags. They actually need to be careful out there.
This country,
go on. it doesn't make sense because and no other countries are like this.
Could be worse. You've got Americans putting petrol into plastic bags.
If you see the state of Leicester Square right now, if you see the state of it, like just litter everywhere.
What, as in
like
fires?
Cake, the streets.
No, just litter.
Huh?
Because people are just
litter. I thought you said lit up.
Like
yeah, COVID's having a rest.
Cakes on the street.
COVID's having a rest, innit? COVID's like, you man do your thing.
That's another one.
I'll jump back on DT when the match is done, innit? I'll be waiting for you at the gates.
Skyrocket as well.
Do you know it is? For me, I think with this sometimes, yeah, like, you know, like they love showing, you know, that colonizer mentality that this country has, and that England is the best, every other country. They just love it. It's so easy for them to show it. I've been hearing so much, you know, like because it's so much borderline racism towards
I actually think
Italians.
My plan was to like buy land and build a house in like Cambridge or something, but I think I'm gonna jump country, man.
Yeah,
I don't think I can stay here forever, man.
Yeah, it's disappointing because there's no need to be. You don't. Do you know, and people say maybe it's because of the. And I don't really want to say this. I think it's a bit unfair, but the lack of culture means that their culture is to bash other cultures. Because that's so much
lack of culture. Your culture's literally colonizing other. Not culture. Sorry, I was thinking of heritage history. Sorry, ignore that.
Go on, Liz.
No, I was gonna say the reason they're so crazy about football in this country is because they have nothing else.
Rugby,
it's like
cricket. Listen, I drove past the cricket stadium yesterday. The Lions. What COVID?
Football is this country's national sport, isn't it?
It is.
And when I say they have nothing else, I mean, and they have no other focus. Like they have no religion, so it's like football is their religion. They have no other focus.
Yeah,
that's what you can see people in the street naked, waving an England flag out naked. Like, what would possess you to strip naked in the middle of the road for no strangers? It's Sunday, you know.
Yeah, I'm seeing some madnesses.
There's work tomorrow.
Listen, give me 5 years, maybe 10. I'm out, bro.
They shouldn't have made the final on Sunday though. It doesn't make sense. It actually doesn't make sense. But yeah, man. We'll know on we'll know. Hey, what's your prediction though? Just pay it on the.
My prediction is that Verratti and them man are gonna dunk on that England midfield. They're gonna dunk on them and it's peak. I think Italy will win.
So done.
Listen, I know I got a little bit of hate because I'm
gonna play this. If England win, I'm gonna play this.
Because I'm not necessarily an England supporter.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's not that I don't support England. If they win, I'll genuinely be happy for them.
It's a bit like the France thing, the racism, like France.
Yeah. I'd genuinely be happy for those players in that squad, but if they lose, it doesn't bother me either. So, yeah.
We'll see, man.
I think it's going to be an Italy win.
We'll see. At least the Uber.
You can't abandon me. Don't leave me in the lurch. What's your prediction?
What are you talking about?
I think I don't catch you. Shut up, man. Answer the question. Malik.
Man's doing bare touch weed on Mac.
I can't hear you still. I can't hear you. So we're gonna wrap up.
You're gonna
episode 40, yeah. Jollof after Jummah. Boom. Comments. Leave those. Anything you want to add? Please. Oh, sorry. Anything you want to share?
Coming on.
Anything? Waste, man. It's coming Rome. Anything you want to share with us? Any kind of topics you want us to discuss? And it's not feedback. Any responses to anything we've spoken about today? Please leave in the comments. Get a bit of conversation going. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the page, follow us on the socials, which will be linked in the description. And yeah, man. I pray Allah preserves you and you get to see Eid and you are able to make the most of the few days we have before Eid by the time this comes out. And inshallah, we'll see you on the other side of it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was never gonna do prediction. I'm not gonna lie.
You're so unserious.
What's your